and welcome back to Faith and Flour. I'm Robin, and in today's video I am going to be sharing 4 recipes that I am using for the Instant Pot. I have had my small 3-quart Instant Pot for several years and I love it. Recently, for Mother's Day, I received a larger 8-quart one, and the reason why I upgraded to a little bit of a larger size is that we now have 4 people at home most of the time instead of just 3. And so this is better for making larger quantities, and also I can make a double batch and freeze some, which is wonderful, and I have been enjoying experimenting with some new recipes with my new Instant Pot. And the recipes that I'm sharing with you today are great for summer meals, so if you're interested in that, then keep watching. This recipe is changing the way that I'm going to be making tacos for my family from now on. There have been so many nights when I'm short on time and I realize that I haven't even thawed out the ground beef, so doing it in the Instant Pot is the perfect way to have a one-pot taco meal on the table in no time. I found this recipe at foodnetwork.com, and I will have a link for you in the description box so you can get the full recipe details. But basically, you just add a pound of frozen ground beef to your Instant Pot along with 1 cup of water, and then you set your Instant Pot to pressure cook for 10 minutes. While the beef is thawing, you can gather all of the ingredients for your toppings, chop any fresh vegetables, and then gather up the spices that you'll need for this recipe. And it just takes some chili powder, cumin, and I didn't have any fresh garlic on hand, so I'm using a little bit of garlic powder. And you'll also need some cornstarch for this recipe. When the pressure cook cycle is complete, you can do an instant release of the pressure. Carefully open the lid and then switch your Instant Pot over to saute mode. Start breaking up your meat just as you normally would, and as you can see, the meat is still raw, but it is going to finish off on the saute mode right here in your Instant Pot. After you have broken up your meat, you can add in your onions, the spices, cornstarch, and salt and pepper to taste. At this point, it may seem very liquidy to you, but that's okay. The cornstarch is going to combine with that liquid to make a really nice rich sauce. I mentioned that one of the reasons why I got the larger Instant Pot was so that I could make double batches when I'm cooking and freeze one for later, and this is a recipe that would work great for that. Continue to stir and let the mixture simmer for about 8 minutes or until the onions are softened. Like I said, this recipe has changed the way that I'm going to make tacos from now on. Whether or not my meat is thawed, I can have tacos on the table in no time. My family loved it, and if you want to simplify this recipe even further, you could add in a packet of your favorite taco seasoning mix in place of the spices. We like to top our tacos with the traditional toppings like guacamole, shredded cheese, lettuce, tomato, and salsa. So having those things on hand make this an easy thing to throw together at the last minute on any busy weeknight. BBQ Pulled Pork is another family favorite and also a great crowd pleaser that's perfect for summertime. And I have made this recipe for years in my slow cooker, and I just adapted it for the Instant Pot, which cut down the time significantly. I will have my full recipe in the description box below, so make sure you look for that. I start off by making the BBQ Rub out of some brown sugar, smoked paprika, chili powder, onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and some fresh ground pepper. cut of pork that I like to use is a pork shoulder butt, and as you can see, this is a huge piece. This is about 9 pounds. You can adjust the recipe according to the size piece of meat that you have, so that's not a problem as long as it all fits inside your Instant Pot. I just cut it into about 4 pieces to make it fit a little bit better and to help it cook through. This one had a bone in it, which I also like, so I just cut around that. Then I spread the barbecue rub all over each piece of meat on both sides. Add water, Worcestershire sauce, and liquid smoke to the bottom of the Instant Pot insert. Then you can place the pork pieces directly into the liquid, spacing them out as much as possible. As you can see, my Instant Pot was stuffed very full, but it worked out just fine. Secure the lid, make sure the vent is set to sealing, and then set your pressure cook on high pressure for 15 minutes per pound of pork. For this 9 pounds, it took about 2 hours and 25 minutes. While the meat was cooking, I made my own barbecue sauce. This is a recipe that my family loves. I'm actually from Eastern North Carolina, where the barbecue sauce is vinegar based, and this is more of a Western style sauce. I combine ketchup, brown sugar, cider vinegar, Worcestershire sauce, and some chili powder. Mix those things together and let them simmer for about 10 minutes on a very low heat, and then you can add that to the pork or any of your other favorite barbecue sauces. When the pressure cook cycle is complete, you can allow the pressure to release naturally. It takes about 20 minutes, and when the pin drops, you can remove the pork to a large bowl or cutting board and pull apart with 2 forks. I like to separate mine into containers. It freezes wonderfully, and then when I'm ready to thaw it out, I can do that easily on the stove top, add some barbecue sauce, and make a really delicious pulled pork sandwich. My new Instant Pot has a yogurt setting, which my smaller one did not have, so I am enjoying this new feature and making my own yogurt. All you'll need is a ½ gallon of milk and a little bit of plain yogurt that contains live cultures, and you can get that at any grocery store, whatever brand that you like. Pour your ½ gallon of milk into your Instant Pot. I prefer using whole milk. I think it gives the best yogurt consistency. Then put your lid on your Instant Pot, but without the silicone gasket. You do not need it to seal tightly, and the gasket can contain food odors like the pork that I just made. You don't want your yogurt to taste like that. Each Instant Pot model has slightly different instructions for making yogurt with their yogurt function. So mine is a Duo Nova, and I just repeatedly press the yogurt button until it says boil. Consult your manual if you have a different model. Once the boil cycle is complete, I take the temperature of the milk to make sure that it has reached 180 degrees Fahrenheit. This sterilizes the milk so that when you introduce the bacteria from the yogurt that you want to grow, nothing else will be in there. Then I remove the insert from the Instant Pot and let the milk come down to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. At this point, it's the perfect temperature for you to introduce your yogurt cultures. First, I remove any skin that has formed on the milk to give my yogurt the best possible texture. Then I pour a little of the warm milk into a bit of yogurt. I would say somewhere around 1/4 cup, even a couple of tablespoons will usually do the trick. I stir that in really well and then pour it back into the pot and whisk it together. Place the insert back into your Instant Pot, and now you are going to program it to incubate the yogurt for as long as you like. It needs to be a minimum of 8 hours up to 24 hours. The counter on the display will actually go down to 0 and count up to the time that you've set, which is the opposite of any of the other modes on the Instant Pot. I like a very tart yogurt, so I set mine for 14 hours. And as I said, you can go up to 24, but if you prefer a milder yogurt, then start with 8 hours. When you're finished, you should be left with a beautiful, thick and creamy yogurt. Normally you wouldn't want to stir it very much. I'm showing you the texture here because you don't want to break up the proteins much before you refrigerate it. So I just put a lid on, put it in the refrigerator for a few hours until it's cold, and then I whisk together any of the separated liquid. That is the way. You can actually pour that off and even strain it if you prefer a very thick Greek yogurt. I like mine a little on the thin side, more of a European style yogurt. So I like whisking in the whey. It's very creamy, even pourable like this. And after I transfer it to jars, it does set up a little bit more in the refrigerator and become thicker after it gets very cold. This recipe makes 2 full quarts of yogurt. It is so creamy and delicious, and you can use it in so many different ways. You can use it in place of sour cream or in smoothies. My favorite is to have it for breakfast with a little bit of granola and a dollop of my favorite blackberry jam. This is by far the easiest method of yogurt making I've ever tried. Years ago, I used to make yogurt using a yogurt incubator. That was fairly easy, but this is even better. And one of the reasons why I stopped was because I'm lactose intolerant and didn't think I could tolerate yogurt. But I have learned that if you incubate your yogurt longer, more of the lactose is removed, making it easier to digest. You can also strain the whey, which contains most of the lactose, and that will help as well. So I'm really happy to be back enjoying yogurt once again. And now another taco recipe. I told you we love our tacos around here. Again, you can find my detailed recipe in the description box. This was so easy and delicious. I was experimenting, so I only used 2 chicken breasts. I would definitely increase that to a minimum of 4, up to 6 or even 8. To that, add 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese and 1 12-ounce bottle of salsa verde. Secure the lid on your Instant Pot and cook on manual pressure for 15 minutes. Then let it naturally release for 5 minutes and quick release after that. Remove the chicken and shred with 2 forks and then return it to the Instant Pot and set your Instant Pot to saute mode. You want to cook until the liquid is evaporated and a thick and creamy sauce develops. As I said, I was experimenting, so mine came out a little sauce heavy, so I think adding extra chicken to this would make it perfect. At this point, you can stir in the black beans that are rinsed and drained. I served these in soft tacos. Half of us here like flour tortillas and the other half like corn. And I have a tip for you if you use soft corn tortillas. I learned this from the Pioneer Woman and I would never skip this step. If you have a gas stove, you can roast them slightly till they are just a little bit charred on each side, and this will give them a ton of flavor and help them hold together. If you don't have a gas stove, you could use a grill to do the same thing, but this makes all the difference and it really does make them have that authentic Tex-Mex flavor. Again, serve them with your favorite taco toppings. My guys gave me a big thumbs up on this one, so I hope if you try it that you and your family will love it too. If you enjoyed today's video, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up, and of course I love hearing from you guys in the comments. If you're new here, I want to invite you to subscribe. We'd love to have you become part of our Faith and Flour community. Thank you for spending your time with me today. I look forward to talking with you in the comments and seeing you in the next video. Have a wonderful week.